Alrighty, UFC 319 week is finally over, which means middle-aged men can stop hating on me in my TikTok comment section and they can get back to not watching MMA. Unlike they claim they do, that they are hardcore fans who enjoy every aspect of the sport. Come on, brother, how am I supposed to believe you when you don't even believe yourself? Yeah, it is what it is. All Oaks are doing is pushing my content, so I appreciate that. But yeah, it's crazy how much hate you can get for having an opinion if it's not the opinion people agree with. But that's a worldwide topic. So let's just push that to the side and let's get into what we have this week, which is UFC Shanghai. And my goodness, it's going to be a banger. And I'm so excited because we also have it at a wonderful time, 9 a.m. on Saturday morning, and then 12 p.m. is the main card Saturday afternoon. So that's obviously South African time. That is just wonderful, Oaks. You can wake up early Saturday morning and just get to watching UFC. And then, then there'll be footy and rugby and all that afterwards. So it's fantastic. Don't have to wait until Sunday morning. I'm stoked about that. And I'm also stoked because we have got an epic card. I think there's going to be some flipping cool fights on this. And I'm super excited. So I haven't done one of these breakdown videos for the last couple cards because I've been focusing on doing the podcast and things like that. But we're going to get back into them. And as per usual, I'm going to try keep it short. I don't want to do like a 30-minute breakdown video. Try keep it 10 to 15 minutes long. So let's get into it. First fight, Uran Satibaldiev against Diyar Nurgozier. I think this is a very good contest to open the card. You got Kyrgyzstan against Kazakhstan. So there's got to be some beef there, I'd imagine. Yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty close fight, to be honest, and I can definitely see it going the distance. Satibaldiev, he lost his opening fight in the UFC via unanimous decision to Martin Buday. So that is a very well-aged loss. Obviously, Martin Buday just beat Buchecha, who was, had all these BJJ credentials, and Oaks didn't necessarily think he was going to get it done. So that is a good loss for Satibaldiev. And then Nurgozier, he has a loss to Brenson Ribeiro by sub in his UFC debut, which isn't as much of a good loss necessarily. So I'm going to take Satibaldiev to win this one, probably by 29-28, 30-27, something like that. Moving on, bantamweight division, we have Xiaolong against Suyong Yu. Listen, Oaks, off the bat here, looking at this one, Xiaolong has much more experience and he's even younger. He has the age advantage and he's got the experience. He's a submission threat. He has 9 submission wins on his record. Obviously, Suyong Yu, only 3 losses on his record, of which only 1 has come by finish. He's made a good start to his UFC career. He won the road to UFC and then he won his UFC debut by unanimous decision. It's going to be a competitive fight. I see this one going the distance, to be honest, but I'm going to take Xiaolong. Featherweight, Yizia against Weston Wilson. Not much to break down on this one. Weston Wilson, 36 years old, back end of his career. He's had quite a few tough finish losses. Yizia, 25-5. He's 28 years old. He's just better all round, I think. I think he does get the finish in this one, probably by TKO against Weston Wilson. We'll keep that one short and we'll move on. Michel Pereira coming up against Kyle Dorcas. Kyle Dorcas, of course, making his return to the UFC. He had back-to-back KO losses. Then he got cut, went into a different promotion, which was called, I'll get it for you now here, CFFC. Not 100% sure what that is, but he had some success there, winning 3 title fight bouts. 1 by sub, 1 by KO, TKO. So he's made a good return. Obviously, he's a very big submission threat. Michel Pereira, we obviously know he's going to be a bit crazy. He's going to, play for the spectacle and all that. It's always tough to call with Michel Pereira because in his last fight against Abus Magomedov, he looked terrible. He looked absolutely nowhere. So if that Michel Pereira shows up, then Kyle Dorcas maybe can put some work on him. But Dorcas relies on his submission game quite a lot, and Pereira's obviously pretty good at that as well. He's got a win over Olejacek and others. So I don't know if I see Dorcas getting a sub here. maybe a Michel Pereira KO, but it's really tough to call because I don't know who's going to show up. I'm going to go with Michel Pereira by KO. I think Dorcas can have success outside of the UFC, but not in it. So Michel Pereira to win that one, maybe, if he shows up. Moving on, in the lightweight division, Rongzhu against Austin Hubbard. Rongzhu, another youngster at 25 years old, coming up against Austin Hubbard, who's had his fair share of fights in the UFC. Obviously, recently he has been on quite the losing streak. He's really struggled with his submission. Like, he gets submitted quite a few times. He has got some hands, but Rongzhu is not really going to get cracked. He's been subbed 4 times, been knocked out once. I definitely think Rongzhu has the edge in this one. I think he's just better all around. I can see him mixing in some wrestling and staying active on the feet and whatnot. So I think Rongzhu is going to get this one done. Does he get the finish? I think there's potential. A lot of these Chinese fighters have heavy hands and they seem to find the finish quite often. So I could see a finish coming for Rongzhu, but definitely going to take him to win that one. This next one is so good. I don't know why it is on the prelims, and it's not even the headliner of the prelims, but that is Lonier Kavanagh against Charles Johnson. This is an absolute banger. Lonier Kavanagh's only had 1 fight in the UFC, I'm pretty sure. But so Lonier Kavanagh is coming up against Charles Johnson. Charles Johnson lost his last bout by unanimous decision, I'm pretty sure. Just double check that one. Yes, he did lose it by unanimous decision. But he's obviously got some really well-aged wins, like TKOing Joshua Van is very good. He's got a unanimous decision against Sumo Daiji, who's on this card. But I don't think he has enough threat for Lonier Kavanagh. Kavanagh is super active. He's got good wrestling, good takedowns, good grappling, and he's got good striking. He's very active. He's also durable. I don't think Charles Johnson will put him away. Kavanagh's got the age advantage. He's 26. Charles Johnson's 34. I don't think Charles Johnson wins this matchup. I don't see any way he wins this. I think Lonier Kavanagh is going to outwork him. I don't think he'll find the finish, but I think it probably unanimous decision. And then our headliner on the lightweights our headliner on the prelims in the lightweight division is Maheshate against Gage Young. Maheshate 25, Gage Young 25. These are 2 young, hungry oaks. They are both, stand-up kind of fighters. I think it's going to be a really fun one to finish off our prelims. They're both pretty durable, but they've both also got finishes. I can see Maheshate mixing in some wrestling in this one, but I think ultimately it could be more of a stand-up sort of game. Tough one to pick though, hey? Very tough one to pick. I think I'm going to go for Maheshate on this one, but I think it's going to be a really close fight. But yeah, I think for now, I'm going to go Maheshate for that one. And then we move into our main card to start us off in the welterweight division. It's a UFC debut for Tayelake Nuaraji against Kiefer Crosby. Kiefer Crosby, 10-5. He has had a lot of submission losses recently. He's had 3, and so 3 out of 5 of his losses are via submission. Nuaraji, I'm not sure how much of a submission threat he is. He only has 1 submission win, but he has 10 knockout wins. So all 11 wins on his record are by finish. Even his loss is by finish. So this should be a pretty exciting one. I don't see it going the distance. It's tough to say. I don't think Crosby's going to get submitted in this one. I could maybe see him getting finished, though, by someone like Nuaraji, who has 10 KO wins. He is also back end of his career, Crosby, 35 years old, against a 24-year-old. So he really has no advantage in this one. The reach is absolutely diabolically out of his favor. I'm not sure if that is accurate because these things are never, sometimes they make mistakes, but I'm going to take Nuaraji probably by finish on this one. Sumo Daiji against Kevin Borjas. Sumo Daiji was obviously on that Volk versus Lopez card where he did get the win. It's a tough one to call. I think Kevin Borjas, whatever. I think he has got the edge in this. He's 2 years younger. Better record. I just think he can outwork Sumo Daiji here, and potentially find the finish. I think Sumo Daiji is pretty durable. I mean, he's only been finished by submission, never by knockout. And Kevin Borjas isn't really much of a submission threat. So I think this one probably stays standing. And I'm going to give Borjas the advantage in that one. But he does have some reach to play with here, to deal with. Obviously, home crowd for Summa Dayaji, but split decision, I can see this one for Borjas potentially. Moving on in the heavyweight division collision, we got Sergey Pavlovich against Waldo Cortez Acosta. Oaks, do not back Waldo Cortez Acosta. I love him. I think he is just the GOAT. But he comes up against Sergey Pavlovich, which is going to be a tough test for him. Pavlovich obviously was making waves in the heavyweight division. Then he got stopped in his tracks by Aspinall and Volkov. He's got back in the win column recently. We know he's got hands. He could obviously mix in some wrestling with a Russian background. So it'll be interesting. It's a tough one to call because Waldo Cortez Acosta is just one of those guys that doesn't necessarily look fast or look that good, but he just keeps winning. And I could see him out, maybe outworking Pavlovich for a decision here. I don't see Cortez Acosta finishing Pavlovich. And there's not really a world where I see Pavlovich finishing Cortez Acosta, but it's the heavyweight division. Anything can happen, but I could see this one going to decision and a win for Cortez Acosta. But it's certainly a tough test, a big step up in competition for him. But I've always backed him, and I think he could get this one done. Co-main event, featherweight division, Brian Ortega against Aljamain Sterling. Ortega returns after his loss to Diego Lopez, and Aljamain Sterling is looking to bounce back after his loss to Evloev. Interesting matchup. Both guys a little bit later into their career. They've been around for super, super long, super experienced in the ground game, in the grappling game. I think this is going to be a super fun fight because standing up, these guys can definitely trade. We know Aljo's got some hands. We know we know Ortega can land some shots. And then obviously they've both got really excellent jiu-jitsu and grappling. So if this fight gets to the ground, I think it's going to be super fun grappling. They're going to be moving around a lot of changes in positions, a lot of different maneuvers, submission attempts. I can see this being a fun matchup, a fun display of mixed martial arts on the stand-up and on the ground game. I'm excited for this one. I think it's one of those ones that's tough to call because Ortega is so dangerous that you never know what he could maybe catch Aljo in. But usually when you have someone like Aljo who's also experienced in jiu-jitsu, they know how to defend those positions. So it's going to be interesting. It's really a tough one to call. I might go for Aljo just because I think, I don't know, it's so tough. Ortega just hasn't looked good in his last few fights. So I just can't pick him based on that. So I'm going to go for Aljamain Sterling, maybe by decision. I think a finish here would be crazy, but, could definitely happen. Main event, Johnny Walker against Zhang Mingyang. What an epic fight this is going to be. Guaranteed finish, I reckon. And I reckon that finish is going for Zhang Mingyang. Johnny Walker is, he's got such a glass chin. He gets finished all the time. He also finishes Oaks a lot. So it's destined to be a finish in this fight, you would hope. And I think Zhang Mingyang's just going to feel it out first. Johnny Walker is going to be a bit unorthodox, a bit weird like he usually is, but Zhang Mingyang will probably just lock in, stay focused, and I think he'll find his shot on Johnny Walker. I think it'll probably be something like a counter shot. Johnny Walker's will run in crazy, throw a kick, a punch, or whatever. Zhang Mingyang will just slip it, whatever, hit a counter. I think that's how he's going to catch Walker here. I just don't see a finish for Johnny. I don't see Johnny Walker finishing Zhang Mingyang, and I don't see him out-decisioning Zhang Mingyang. So I have to go for Zhang by knockout, maybe in the second round. I think first round he maybe feels him out a little bit. Second round he comes and knocks him out. But in saying that, it's Johnny Walker. He could run in instantly, get KO'd in the first round, or just KO Zhang Mingyang. It's really another one where it's going to be so interesting to see what happens. But I think anyone looking at this fight's got to think Zhang Mingyang by knockout. But that wraps it up, folks. That is the my breakdown for UFC Shanghai this weekend. I'm super excited to be watching it in the morning and afternoon. I think that's flipping cool, and I think it's going to be a banging run of fights. So as per usual, watch out for the bets. They'll be dropping sometime later this week. Folks, hope you have a wonderful week, and thank you so much for watching. Check you in the next one.